What, Nades? Let's go back a bit on this Arsenal-Liverpool game and try to analyze it a little bit better. And again, let's go back to the tactics. I don't want to blame Klopp here. I mean, he's a hell of a manager. Yeah. He knows better than I do. But when we were in the press lounge at the Emirates, and 2 hours before kickoff, we started hearing people saying this is exactly the same team as against Rangers in the Champions League on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that at all. I didn't expect the 4-2-4 again, I have to be honest. I thought it was very risky and very brave, and I admire how brave and courageous he was to go and think, okay, this is how we're going to play because we can pin down Thomas Partey. If we've got a line of 4, and it was very clear that it was a 4-2-4 and not a 4-2-3-1, for example, because Diaz, Jota, Darwin and Salah were literally on the the halfway line. I thought it was too courageous, and I thought as soon as you lose the ball, you're going to be in trouble, and your defensive transition you're going to suffer. Yeah. First minute in, they attack. It's that Alisson long ball. Yeah. They lose that duel. Yeah. They lose the second ball, and then Arsenal on the attack, and then that's it. Yeah. They overrun. Yeah. Did you think like me he was brave?
Yeah. So it does feel brave. It really does feel brave. But my question to you, especially for teams like this, do you think it's better to focus on the opposition or focus on yourselves in terms of changing formations and things like this?
But why did he change formation against Rangers? Because they've just conceded 3 against Brighton that could have been 6.
Yes.
So he thought we need better structure here.
Yeah. He must have seen something in that game that he liked. That's the thing. And don't get me wrong, I personally didn't think this was a good formation to match up against Arsenal away from home. But I think that's one of the differences in psychology team to team, is that if you are, respectfully a lesser team, you're always trying to make adjustments based on what the opposition do to try and stop them from doing what they do well. Whereas for Liverpool, they're taking a more of a front foot approach. And I think to this point, it stood them in good stead. I think teams might make adjustments against Liverpool historically, but you could see Arsenal in that game say, well, this is how we do it. Yeah. This is why we're top, and we're going to do it again. But yeah, I'm with you, especially with the 4-2-4. If it was a 4-2-3-1, maybe it's a bit different. Maybe if Firmino would have started, maybe it's a bit different. But it kind of played into their hands. And that opening goal, like, you're away from home against a team that's doing really well. What's the last thing you could possibly want to do to start a game? Concede really early so that the crowd are just there. But it's, people level accusations against Alexander-Arnold and this, that and the other, and it wasn't the best moment, but you'd like to think you'd have a setup which would be solid at the start of a game that is so big, because for all we knew, that might have been the only goal in the game, so to concede it so early, true. You know what I mean? It sort of misses the point, doesn't it?
So, did he change the system because he wanted to be more solid defensively? And to be fair, against Rangers, they didn't concede. Yeah. He looked good. He looked balanced. He looked structured. When they lost the ball, they were, like 2 lines of 4 and then the 2. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But to think that you can go to the Emirates, and remember, they played like that at City. During lockdown, I think it was the 1-1 draw when they had Mane, Jota, Firmino and Salah. Yeah. And against City, in a way, especially without fans, I think, okay, maybe because you will pin down the 2 fullbacks. Yeah. And in a way, City also at times play 4-2-4 anyway, because if De Bruyne plays really high and then you've got your 2 wide players and then you've got Haaland, so you almost mash them. But in this game, you were always going to be Xhaka, Partey and Odegaard in that midfield against Henderson and Thiago. And Henderson and Thiago can run. They can't run that much. This is not who they are.
No. And in some ways, I think for Henderson and Thiago, they're good footballers. Obviously, people have different sort of perspectives of the two, and they can run. I think maybe Klopp fancied it because if you say match them up to Odegaard and Xhaka, they're not exactly the most dynamic of midfielders anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? So maybe he thinks from that standpoint, it's something which they could potentially do. And there was a lot of play which they tried to build up from deeper. And I think if maybe Jota played it a bit differently and came in a bit deeper, maybe some of those balls to sort of break the lines, maybe they're a bit safer. Maybe they play some sort of better football. But
like on the second goal,
Yeah, but this is football. Like the manager, you can see Klopp knows that something's not right, something's missing. You know, and he said it's not down to tactics. Why he conceded the goals. Well, why did you concede the goals then? Yeah. Is it individual errors? Is it lack of belief? Is it lack of understanding? Because in some ways, you'd probably prefer it if it was down to the tactics solely, because then you can just try and address those going into the next game. True. But it's a weird time. It's a weird time to be seeing Liverpool struggle, because for the last few years, it was only 6 months ago we were seeing that City and Liverpool basically for the last 4 years combined.
Or one,
exactly. Where people don't really fancy them as much as they used to. No matter where
even in the
playing.
Community Shield.
Yeah,
the performance they put against City in the Community Shield win was like, wow, okay.
To add context to that Community Shield win, again, there's watching a game and then there's seeing the bigger picture, and nobody has to know the bigger picture in any particular game, but understand there is more to it. And for City that day, I think that was their second or third pre-season game.
Yeah, that's how they perceived
it.
That's very true. No, but that's very
Liverpool true. Liverpool basically a week ahead, and in terms of pre-season football, before the season starts football, there's a big step up in every single week. So to come up against Liverpool when City went at their best, I think people read into it a bit too much, seeing Haaland be disappointed. And that's when everyone went big on Nunes, and everyone was writing off Haaland. And now here we are, 2-3 months later. Kind of speaks for itself.
Just to finish on tactics, I think it was also telling that at 2-2, Klopp took off Salah, put Henderson on the right-hand side, brought Fabinho in. Yeah. And then suddenly it became, and then I think it was Konate for Matip who had cramps, I think. But it was back of okay, let's keep that let's try to keep the 2-2. I think you can set up in any formations you want. In the end, and I know this is very basic and this is not, but you have to be aggressive and you have to win the ball, and you have to win duels, and you have to win second balls. And Liverpool didn't do it, certainly not in the second half. In that game where Arsenal were the better side by far in that second half. And if you look at all the duel stats, Arsenal are way better, 57% to 45 and stuff like that everywhere, which I don't think at that level you don't. This also how you win, or maybe not win games, but certainly you put full into the game.
No, just say it bigger. That's how you win games. Because if you win duels, maybe you create more opportunities, maybe you score more goals, maybe you defend situations better. So that duels stat, it's not one duels given duels stat. Make sure you hear the difference. It's a J and a D. I apologize. But with it, if you are winning those duels and you are outworking the opposition, there's a good chance you'll be dominating the game, and there's a greater chance they'll be winning it. I think Klopp himself in the past would say he needs his team to hit this sort of distance threshold to have a good chance of winning games. Because all those things really do matter, because at some point you can have the tactics, you can have the skill, have the flair, but it's a matchups game. Can you win the ball against this person? Can you jostle against that? It's a contact sport and you're always around people. If you're not winning your individual battles, then you'll ultimately be losing the game. And I think that's why, as we leave the game now, as I say, people believe that Arsenal deserve to win. And it's not necessarily just because they move the ball well. It's because they're coming out on top in their duels.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.